This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN Network. And joining me right now is John Arbuthnot. He is the co-founder, CEO, and director of DN.TO Cannabis Inc. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: DN on the TSX and VRNDF on the OTCQX. You can actually see John give a presentation at our upcoming Planet MicroCap Showcase virtual happening April 20th through 22nd. John, great to see you. How you doing?
Robert, I'm very well. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you back. So last time we did an interview, we published that interview January 26, 2021. So, I'm assuming the company's had some updates since then. So I'd love to hear a few highlights since that last interview.
Yeah, for sure. Busy first quarter for the company here. In terms of major milestones, we've opened another few retail stores on our end. So we closed out the year last year with 9 operating retail stores. We closed out the first quarter with 11 operating stores, so some good growth across our retail chain. Announced a number of milestones in terms of micro-cultivation partners of ours being licensed across the country here in Canada. So new third-party facilities coming online, just demonstrating that B2B side of the business is, continuing to roll on. And most recently, company released our year-end audited results for 2020 in the last week. So getting out the news of the final year-end results to the market. And now here we've rolled over into the second quarter. So upcoming first quarter results coming in terms of guidance in the next few weeks.
Very good. So on that note of results, as you mentioned, the company announced their 2020 results. Can you provide an overview of how the company did last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So company's reporting results for the year-end 2020 showing top line revenue a little over 52 million for the full year 2020, up 64%. Versus about 32 million the previous year. So significant top line growth year over year. Comprised of that is retail revenue was actually up 110% to 32.2 million versus the previous year. So retail growth, both in the number of stores and same store sales growth, really leading the charge in terms of top line growth. Cannabis wholesale revenue, so sales of Delta-9 branded cannabis products across the country, we're up as well last year, 24% to about 12 million for 2020. B2B revenue, so sales of our proprietary grow pods, sales of cultivation equipment, providing licensing and consulting services, up 38% to 8.6 million last year. Significant gains in gross profitability, 17.8 million in gross profit before biological asset adjustments last year. That was up 105% year over year. And I think most notably, company reached the inflection point of full year profitability in terms of adjusted EBITDA for the calendar year. So showing positive adjusted EBITDA, 3.8 million for the year. Again, the first full year in the company's history of positive adjusted EBITDA. I'll note as well, 1.5 million in free cash flow from operations. So company not only showing positive adjusted EBITDA figures, but also positive cash flow. So very unique in the Canadian cannabis space. For operators to be showing that type of operating cash flow. Q4 results were a part of that news release as well. Our Q4 alone, record quarter for us, 14.2 million in top line revenue for the quarter. Again, very strong retail sales on the back of the holiday shopping season at a little over 10 million in retail revenues. Very strong quarter for our wholesale business as well. And over 1.9 million in positive adjusted EBITDA for just the fourth quarter last year. So company just continuing to demonstrate that the business model is working, is proving out to be one of the most profitable models in terms of our approach to the Canadian cannabis space.
Very good. So, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the company's growth strategy. And, what would you say that strategy is, for the next year or 2 years in retail, wholesale, B2B businesses? And then does that have any relation to some of your plans looking to expand into the US market?
Yeah, so touching on the Canadian space first, really few-prong approach here. Firstly, on the retail side, again, I mentioned we closed out the year with 9 operating stores. We're now at 11. We're hoping to be up to 20 operating stores by the end of this year. So obviously new store openings are looking to continue to drive growth in our retail segment, drive distribution to the end consumer, continue to put the Delta-9 brand out there in the communities in which we operate in that retail segment. Again, has been a real shining star for us. So growth in retail, I think, again, continues to be the focus. Will be a mix of organic store build-outs and tuck-in acquisitions on an M&A standpoint. So we will look to get active in consolidation on the M&A front where it's appropriate. We actually acquired 3 stores last calendar year. So looking to get a little bit more involved on the consolidation as that starts to happen in the Canadian cannabis space. On the wholesale side of our business, we're currently at about 8,500 kilos or 8.5 tons of annual capacity in terms of cannabis production. We're actually now I'll call it meeting the design capacity for our facilities here in Canada. So we're maximizing the utility of the existing assets here. That kind of clears the way for further expansion on the cultivation and product development side of our business. We're rounding out our portfolio of cannabis products, introducing cannabis concentrates, and reintroducing a few lines of derivative products this year that should continue to help drive top line revenue growth as well as margins in our cannabis wholesale business. And now getting to a point where we can sell almost every gram of cannabis that we can produce in the wholesale markets here in Canada. So a very good position for us to be in terms of positioning for further growth in our wholesale segment. B2B has been a unique opportunity for us. So this is the picks and shovel side of the industry, sales of cultivation equipment, proprietary growing technology, and providing consulting licensing services. We started to touch the US market on that last year. So we can't sell cannabis products in the US, but we can sell ancillary products and picks and shovels. So we built out facilities last year in Michigan and Maine. We'll continue to emphasize our focus in terms of our marketing and sales efforts on the US market as we, I think, as well as many other people, eagerly await progress in terms of federal legalization of cannabis down in the US.
Very good. What a segue. You must have done a few of these things before, but that's a perfect segue into the impact of the outcome of the US election, and how do you see that impacting Canadian US cannabis industries going forward? And, how will this also impact your decision-making process moving forward for the company?
Yeah, so initially, what we saw in the wake of the election with a number of different states announcing either recreational or medical legalization of cannabis is we start to see influx of inbound inquiries in those states, states like Arizona, more recently states like New York, starting to legalize for recreational and medical. And that directly correlates into inbound and opportunities for our B2B segment. So, we see near-term exposure in terms of the growth of these US state-by-state markets. But of course, then there's the larger picture in terms of federal legalization. Our hope is that opens up the border, allows for Canadian companies to come down to participate in the US market in a meaningful way. Obviously with access to capital markets, we can raise capital. We know how to deploy that capital. Again, we mentioned that our business model is proving profitable. This is a business model that we can easily take cross-border, build out cultivation assets, build out distribution, and build out retail. And just continue to expand on that already successful model, and obviously looking to tap into the incredibly large market opportunity that we would find in a U.S. market. So I think to have been one of the leaders in the Canadian space, we're past some of the early kinks in the business model. We eagerly await progress of certain bills like the Safe Banking Act, the MORE Act, and hopefully ultimately, again, clearing the way for a full rescheduling of cannabis at the federal level to allow for a commercialized framework to be established as we've done successfully here in Canada.
I think that's a great place to end it. John, where can our audience go and find more information about Delta-9?
Rob, investors can find information on us at invest.delta9.ca, our targeted investor page. You can see a whole wealth of information on the company on our main webpage at delta9.ca, all the information there on the different products we sell, give you a look and feel of how the business actually works. For investors looking for more information, please feel free to contact our investor relations folks. All of that contact info is available on the website, and feel free to reach out to us for analyst reports, financial statements, management discussion, analysis, etc., on making an informed investment decision in Delta-9.
Very good. John, thank you as always for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck, stay safe, and I look forward to our next update.
Robert, cheers. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.